Welcome to Legendary Elite, Memoirs of an Illusory Larcener. I had to say that slow so that I could say it right, because when I try to say it fast, it never comes out right. Level 30. This will not be the last video of the series. I'm going to do Legendary Elite Search and Rescue, and in that video I won't do an introduction with the gear and everything, because that's going to be a long video. I'm going to do the optional and everything, so I'm going to do this shorter quest here with an intro going over the gear and stuff. So, first things first, since I am level 30, now I have seen how it all performs. And so the most important thing that I wanted to do this series for was it was an experiment to see, do I want to stay as a deep gnome for my beloved main toon? And the answer is definitively yes. I love it. I think, like I said at the outset, the deep gnomes look really cool. They have a great enhancement tree for the racial tree, and I just love the flavor of it, and I'm very pleased with how it has turned out. I'm very pleased with the stats that I'm seeing and the performance overall. So, Gingerspyce is going to stay a deep gnome for here on out. Unless they come out with lizard folk or something that is cooler than a deep gnome. So let's take a look at where things are. So the last video was Epic Elite Breaking the Ranks, and I just posted that tonight. It has actually been 5 weeks since I made that video, so this one I'm going to post in a couple of days is much closer to real time. That video was made, basically right after Update 31 came out. So let's see. Let's take a look at the gear first. And so this stuff is all on my build post now. This is my endgame gear. Wisdom 14 and Insightful Evocation 3 on the goggles. Now, of course, I'd love better than that. You could get potentially, like, I guess, Wisdom 16 with the Insightful Evocation 3, and then even have, like, an Insightful Wisdom 6 would be amazing. But, I just haven't found better than this, so this is what I'm going for now. But there's certainly better random gen available. The Shadow Dragon Plate armor, I went over that last video, so not going to go over it here. I did put Tier 3 on the Legendary Green Steel Bracers. So with my Tier 3, I went for the spell points with the Charisma skills. So that's very important in me reaching that high Intimidate, so I can get those high-end raid bosses like Legendary Elite ZZ, for example. And since we're talking about Intimidate, let's go ahead and show where that is. 116. That's higher than I was when I was a human. It was only 112 then. Now, I didn't have the Tier 3 green steel, so there's some of the difference. So, very pleased with that. Unfortunately, against like ZZ, for example, I'm getting a minus 16 size penalty because of the size difference. I'm a small toon now, and ZZ's, large or whatever. So, that's a little painful. But, I did craft a Tier 3 Legendary Affirmation Scimitar that I use as a tanking stick when I'm tanking. So when I equip that, and that's got, let's see, some more charisma skills on there. So now I'm up to 122. Then, if I put on my, let's see, I have a raid. This is actually more like a Hound of Zoriat tanking bar here. If I put on my heroic green steel goggles, which is a different charisma skills bonus, so it stacks. Now I'm up to 128. Then, if I know I'm gonna do like epic legendary elite Hound of Zoriat, well, I can twist in Draconic Presence from Draconic Incarnation. And now I'm up to 134. Now, no fail for ZZ is 125, so with my size penalty, a minus 16 to that, let's see, that would be 118. So it's not no fail, but I'm gonna get her like 2/3 at a time, which is gonna be good enough. Good enough for that raid. So just showing you that situationally, I can get a lot higher. Now, changing the twist, obviously you can't do that on the fly, but that's only an extra 6. So situationally on the fly, I can get up to 128. Pretty awesome. Alright, let's get interrogation back in there before I forget it. And since I have this up, nothing has changed on, this is the way I've been running on Unity Sentinel for like 2 years, so nothing's changed here, and the twists are just like I have posted on my build post. I've got the point of wisdom in there because, was at an odd number, so, that gets me to that next tier. If I wasn't using wisdom there, I'd probably go with, oh, I don't know. You stay frosty. And this, I didn't realize until recently this actually affects spells too. I just read right through it, and I was thinking it was just for range attacks, but it's for spells, so that's a tier 1 stance that you could be in to do some extra cold damage, which is pretty neat. Yeah, I could do something like Cocoon, if I didn't have the point of wisdom. Unearthly reactions, +6 to reflex save. The dodge actually wouldn't help me now. I used to use that before. So that's what I was using for that last tier 1 twist before. All kinds of good things that you can put in there, tier 1. But, standing 116 Intimidate, I'm very pleased with that. That's going to basically get everything when you're questing. And then obviously situationally higher for raid bosses. Okay, where else are we at? So I got this Con 16 Sheltering 37 ring. Oh, this thing's beautiful. I found this on the Shard Exchange for a reasonable price, so hell yeah. So it's got me up to the big 1699 hit points. I need to find some way to get one more hit point, so I can get to 1700 and be really cool. Still got the Booze of the Innocent. That's just for the greater heroism. Basically, same Gauntlets of the Arcane Soldier, went over that last video. Circle of Malevolence, I've been using this endgame for a long time. Didn't have it last video. Intimidate 25, biggest Intimidate item in the game. Resistance 12, used to be the biggest resistance item in the game, but I think that now belongs to Drow, Legendary Drow Outrunner armor, which I think has +14 or 15 on it, but I'm certainly not changing my armor. And randomly generated can have +12 too. So Vitality 40, Insightful Sheltering 5, really nice item. Got it slotted up with Protection 8 and Golem's Heart. Eldritch Resistance Rituals on there too. Belt of Braided Beards, this is all about having the lesser displacement, the 25% miss chance. A couple other goodies too. Spell Resistance does nothing for me. I already have that racially anyways, but 35 spell resistance at endgame is not really going to do anything for you. Intelligence 12 affects Spellcraft skill. So, a little bit of a bonus there. Legendary Earthen Mantle. So, talked about this before. I've been farming for my Mythic +3. Haven't gotten it yet. I did see it drop once the other day, though, so it's nice to see that it did drop. Went over that last video, so not going to mention it again. Epic Litany of the Dead, same as last video. My Torque's the same. Got the Mythic 3 Legendary Pansophic Circlet. So it took me about a dozen runs to pull that Mythic 3. So very happy to have that. It's the highest that it comes. The items from Legendary, or from Update 31 come in Mythic +1 or +3. The armor can come in Mythic +2 or +4. Not sure why they did it that way. It's a little bit different than before, but in other packs, but that's the way it is. And still got the Death Egg Runestone. That's now slotted up with Charisma 8. So the augment is different than last video. And the scimitar is exactly the same. I did mention that, I might change out the gloves for like a universal spell or item. So something like these, but probably with, like as high of glaciation as I can get. I mean, I saw, I think, 177 randomly generated item the other day, and I didn't even realize it could go that high. I thought it was like 164, but I've been seeing like 170s now, so that's really freaking awesome. So it's possible that I could go with something like this, and that would be because, if I decide to go with Legendary Green Steel full-time for a weapon, I would need to find a place for Universal Spell Lore, but I'm not going to go there yet. So I just wanted to mention that this is an example of an item that I might end up using. And the Scale Mail of the Celestial Sage, I have that with me now because I just want to show you the real world difference between that and the armor I am using, and I am going to stick with the Shadow Dragonplate because I do like that DR. Being the tanky build that I am, grabbing all the aggro like I like to do, taking a lot of hits, and that DR, you can feel that is real. And I'm going to demonstrate that in this video. Okay, what else? The stats. So when we throw the mage armor on there, we got armor class 209. Ballin'. For druid, that's so friggin' awesome. I love it. I'm so happy to be over 200 armor class. And I got 200 PRR now too. I mean, standing. So cool. Very happy to reach those milestones. And now I will say that in past videos I have said, I've talked about how like I'm like a quasi tank, and I've said, I think of a true tank as being like having AC and PR over 200. Well, I've reached that, but I still wouldn't really consider this tune a true tank, because I kind of feel like that bar has been shifted because of legendary content. I cannot stand up against legendary elite Swordjack. It's just like a freight train. And just very few people can. I mean, the only people I've seen stand up to him is, like full-on paladins. I'm sure there are other ways to do it, but so far that's all I've seen can survive and take a hit from legendary Elite Swordjack. I mean, he's a badass. But I can stand up against like legendary elite ZZ, for example. So I'm pretty happy about that. And Swordjack, he's not really the kind of boss you're tanking. I mean, I guess it can be helpful. It can. It can definitely be helpful. But it's easy enough to just, have everybody range him and while he's running around. Alright, I don't think there's anything else here. I did get over 3,000 spell points. That's pretty cool with the legendary green steel. Probably nothing else worth mentioning. I will be keeping the 1 wizard level. I am getting the extra feat from the 1 wizard level, which is really valuable because, I lost the feat from being human, so that takes the place of that. Plus, I got the mage armor, which is huge for, for armor class, a giant bonus, 19 more armor class, great for the tanky build. And I love that I have shield as a spell. I love that I have protection from evil as a spell, and I love to have grease as a spell too. So I love to grief my guildies. Half the reason I play this game is just so I control my guildies. Don't think there's anything else that I want to mention on the gearing side. Enhancements. Did make a change from last video. Got rid of Negotiator. I wanted to put those 3 points in Battle Mage because that's another 3 Intimidate. I also get Spellcraft, so here I got the +5 universal spell power from having Negotiator max before. Well, it's partially offset by the fact that this gives me 3 Spellcraft, and I also get every point spent in Eldritch Knight Tree gets +5 universal spell power. So I'm only really down like a couple points of universal spell power, or spell power just generally speaking, because of that choice. But the +3 Intimidate I thought was nice. I really wanted to have that. So personal choice. And I talked about how I wasn't sure if I was going to be keeping Nimble Reaction. Yes, definitely I am benefiting from the dodge. I'm pretty much, I think I'm at like maximum dodge that I can benefit from. So let's just take a look at that real quick here. 9% to dodge. Okay. And I don't even think I have a dodge item. This is from Enhancements in past lives. And that's the most that I can benefit from. Alright, let's do the quest. I did a video of this. I did the first look video, but we didn't know what we were doing. And then I did the heroic video. I think on Voodoo. So this one's, it's tight for me. There are no shrines in here. So definitely gotta, bide my time and be smart about things. Unless I want to drink a bunch of pots, which I never want to do. Vinza Vega. They talk a lot, don't they? They certainly do. It's nice to be able to do some Legendary Elite solo. I never made this build as intending to be a soloer, but it's nice to be able to solo a lot of stuff, and it was a little discouraging that the only other two legendary quests we had before this content, was To Curse the Sky and Creeping Death, and those were just long, painful slogs. So first, before I start, well, let's get rid of some of these rangers so I can change my armor without getting interrupted. Maybe we'll demonstrate the armor on the next round. Okay, so let's see what what the arrows are hitting me for here. $31. 40. 48. 46. 45. Let's put the other arm, the Scale Mail, the Celestial Sage. Oh crap, I didn't see those guys. Okay, let's put on the other armor here and see what kind of hits we're taking. Because the Scale Mail of Celestial Sage is certainly, like if you're a traditional Druid caster, that's what you want to go with. Hands down, it's awesome. Because I'm doing the tanky thing, I'm going with the Shadow Dragon Plate. So I just get hit for 70. 57. I gotta take my shield off here. 67, 62, 72, 78. So, it's, just like I said, it's 30 off the top. And one of the, the neat things that, I wasn't sure about in Legendary content until I did some experimenting, some weeks back, is that, the armor, it says DR 30/epic, which means that, epic weapons would be able to bypass that. Well, these guys are legendary mobs and they're not bypassing it. So, it's hard to tell, I don't know what has epic weapons per se. What's going to be able to bypass that. But, as a tank, I want to be able to, forego as much damage as possible. And, when I'm a big group of mobs, if I'm shaving 30 damage off the top, and when I'm um, below 75% health, it's shaving 60 off of each hit, and that's huge. If you're surrounded by mobs and you're getting taking tons of hit, shaving 30 or 60 off of every hit right off the top is giant. So that's why I'm going with that choice. But like I said, if you're not doing the real tank, going for like, the real tankiness like I am, you're just more of a traditional druid caster, you definitely want to go with the scale mail, the celestial sage's beautiful armor. I'm just going to leave these two archers up, torque me up a little bit. And I can just focus on the courier, because the bodyguard's going to die in the AoEs. Had, you know, lately, over the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of really positive in-game feedback about the videos, which has been just really awesome. It's really humbling. It's really just, it's so cool. It's really amazing to hear like how people are finding these videos helpful. The little tips that I'm tossing in there, and or whether it's a tutorial video, a raid guide, or how to craft or whatever. It's really, really cool to hear from you guys, to know that like you guys are finding it helpful and stuff. I really appreciate the feedback, and like I said, it's really humbling. It's a little overwhelming, not like in a bad way. I don't mean like, oh, I'm getting so many tells it's overwhelming. I mean like, it's just really cool to know, like I said, that the community is enjoying and finding the videos helpful. So here, a helpful tip is, you don't have to kill all of these archers. A lot of them you can run by. You only have to kill the ones that are like right in front of the barriers. I'll show you what I mean. So like there are those archers back there I won't have to deal with. Those archers I don't gotta kill, just these guys here in front of the barrier. I wonder if they changed something. I haven't run this in probably a couple weeks, and before, like, the archers didn't even really move, so I was able to, like, toss AoEs on them, and but now they seem to be moving around a lot. Without all the spell point clickies that I have, I would not be able to do this. I would not be able to solo this without drinking pots. Unless I wanted to be really patient, just torque up. Take a little, I guess it'd just take a few extra minutes. So just the guys in front of the barrier, and boom. The last video I did the tally of the torque, and I was really surprised how much it produced. I didn't expect it. Like I said, I was like, oh, I don't know if it's 300 or 400 SP or 600 or 800 or whatever. It was like 2500, and I took a couple minutes to torque up, but even bracketing that out, it would have been like a couple thousand spell points. That was pretty awesome. But it was such a manual process of doing that. Like I literally like counted, like watched the video and like stopped it, and then like it was all a very manual process of putting in all those. Yeah, every one of the tally in the upper left hand corner was those were all comments that I manually entered. That was like it literally took me hours to do that, and I didn't realize it was going to be such a project when I started it, and once I started getting into it, I'm like, oh my god, it's crazy! Stop procking. But I couldn't stop. Once I got started, I couldn't stop. I had to finish the project. Having the shield as the regular spell, I do suffer from arcane spell failure because that is an arcane, it's the wizard spell. But I just cast it multiple times if I need to. If it fails, it's not a big deal. And it's just situational. If I start seeing that I'm getting hit by magic missiles, then I toss it on. Otherwise, I don't worry about it. No sweat. And, if you don't have, the big mana clickies, you don't have your bobble, you don't have your epic ring of spell storing, if you have the torque and you're patient, you can just take an extra 5 minutes or so in the bar, or, the archers in the alleyways, and, just shield block and torque up, and just use your cheap maintenance healing, renewal to keep you up, and you're gonna get a lot of spell points back that way. Piece of cake. 18 minutes. Not a very good time. Definitely do it a lot faster than that. Well, thanks for watching. If you have questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. If you have questions about my build, you can respond in the Gnome Druid forums. And if you're on Sarlona, you are welcome to send me a tell.